How's everybody doing? I haven't recorded at night before. I made a video a while ago about Surviving Mars. It was a video game that Paradox made. It was one of the many Paradox sketches we made, and I did a lot of tentpole effects for myself for that video. It was a big test to kind of see like how fast I could actually do things, and I got it down to like one big effect shot a day. And I released a video already on this channel where it just does like a side-by-side before and after comparison of several of those shots, but I never explained any of them, so I figured we'd start with motion capture. I bought a motion capture suit, because that's a thing you can buy now and use in your home. The Rokoko motion capture suit is a couple $1,000s. I bought that and I've been broke ever since. This shot of Matt on Mars is obviously fake. There was not going to be any hiding that. But I just decided to lean into it super hard and try out the mocap suit on making this fake spacesuit. I don't have the confidence to do like a full CGI creature yet, but I really wanted to try motion capture still, and this seemed like the perfect way to test it out because spacesuits are like stiff and kind of hard to move and heavy. So I figured even if the motion capture data wasn't perfect, it would still look fairly convincing. So we had Matt come over one day, and we actually have a bunch of behind-the-scenes footage on that.
These lumps are my clothes, not my body.
I've gotten one hand working so far.
Give us a thumbs up. Nice. The wonders of technology.
We've created the ultimate Italian simulator.
The first digital Italian. That's awful. What have you done?
Does that work?
That's the perfect creeping wall.
This was by far the most difficult shot that I did for this video. It actually ended up taking 2 days, unlike all of the other ones, which took 1. Only because there was one really irritating glitch that happened. Any motion capture data gets applied in a T-pose. The spacesuit that I used was in an A-pose, and that arm difference cost me a day. All armature animation in Blender is just rotation relative to the default position. So all the keyframes aren't like an absolute location of the arm. It's more like, okay, this arm is rotated X degrees from its original starting point. So when your two skeletons have different starting points and you try to translate animation from one to the other, suddenly it doesn't match anymore. So I spent a whole day trying to figure that out. I think there's a plugin that does it automatically now, but at the time, I essentially had to do the digital equivalent of just like taking the one skeleton and then zip tying each individual bone to the other one so that it would like follow it, and I had to do that like on a bone by bone basis, so that took a long time. The environment here is actually just like a weird like stack of rocks in different resolutions depending on how close they are to the camera. So you can see this really low resolution texture here is just like this rock texture being applied to these mountains off in the distance. This is actually a photo scan of Mars. Somebody put a 3D model together using photos taken by the Mars rover and turned it into an actual scan and then colored it. So that's kind of cool. Whenever I did anything for Paradox videos, I was usually on kind of a tight deadline. So anywhere I could cut corners, I did. And usually that involved downloading pre-made models so that I didn't have to spend time creating something that was probably worse than something that was just out there. Also, I was being paid, so I could actually like buy models that were good. And then the parts that I added from scratch were one, this drone, which I built to look like the model in the game of the actual like drone thing that drives around. And then also, I'm sure you've noticed, it has Matt's weird flat face inside the helmet. The process of combining the actual footage with the CGI footage was less difficult than I expected it to be. We did our best to like make the digital camera settings match the real camera settings as close as possible. Obviously, we used his actual motion capture and lined those up. But by default, the face still didn't like stay perfectly inside the helmet the entire time. And you can see down here that I've had to go in and like manually keyframe it around a lot. The model moves with, you know, like depth in and out, and also the movement is more exaggerated sometimes or just doesn't quite match up. The end result is not that it doesn't look real, it actually just kind of looks like his helmet doesn't fit that good. Because when he moves around, sometimes his head will move more than the helmet does. And in some cases that could be a problem, but he's like a used car salesman on Mars. Other standout things about this shot are the having it be handheld, I think really helps sell an otherwise fake looking shot. I'm about to plug a different person's Patreon right now, but if you're an aspiring VFX artist, nothing is more worth your money than going to Ian Hubert's Patreon page. He makes so many great assets just like on the fly and gives them to you for like $7 a month. But one of them is that he actually motion tracked like camera wiggle on just like a bunch of different shots, and then put together a plugin for Blender that just lets you add handheld motion to the camera, and it's actual handheld motion. It's not just randomized noise. I think that's all I'm going to cover for this one. In the future, I want to do a couple more Surviving Mars videos because I did a lot of stuff with that. I kind of want to cover the material that I used for everything that I call cheap-ass space plastic. It ended up being one of the more versatile materials, and I think made everything actually look really realistic. And then I also just want to do a full breakdown on converting the inside of our car to a Mars rover, because I think it's just a really good compact example of like digital set extension and using pieces that are real and pieces that are fake. It's possible that I'll run out of things to talk about if I do these faster than I work on things in Blender. So if you have anything you want me to talk about or cover from past videos or try to make that maybe I haven't yet, even if you just have any questions that you want me to go into more detail on, I'm happy to answer them. Community comments did not come out last week because I was very busy, but it is going to continue coming out, and I will also see you next week for more VFX. Thanks for watching. Bye.